In this lesson, we will see how to use the blend tool. With blend tool, we can create the duplicates of objects with varying sizes. We can also create duplicates of objects on a path, and we will cover some interesting examples where we will be creating organic waves and also will be creating a fur using the blend tool. So let's begin. Let's select this star. Let's hold shift and create a star from the center. Right. Now let's take a duplicate of this star. So we can hold Alt in PC or Option in Mac and then create a duplicate of this star. And we can slightly increase the size of this star and we can change its color. Right. Now in between these two stars, we will be creating the duplicates of these stars. The duplicates will be created with varying sizes and colors. So we will just hold shift and select both these stars and we can simply go to object, and here we have the option blend. First we will select the blend options. So once we select the blend options, we will be opening the blend options dialog. Inside the blend options dialog, here we have spacing. From spacing we will be selecting the specified steps, and here we need to put a value. Let's put a value of 4 and we will simply click OK. Now nothing has happened. We will again go to object, blend, and here we have the option make. We can also use the keyboard shortcut Alt Control B or Option Command B. So now we can see we got the duplicates which are created gradually with varying sizes. So we can see here from small size to big size, and also there is a variation in the color. So the star began as an orange star and gradually it became a green star, and also we can see how gradually the size of the star got increased. So this is how we can create duplicate objects using the blend option. Let's also create duplicates on a path. So this time what we'll be doing is we will use the pen tool and let's turn on the stroke. We can give a black stroke and we will create a simple path. Right. And we can adjust the path. Right. So now we can just position the stars in this way. We will put the big star on the right end and the small star on the left end. Right. Now first we will select both the stars by holding shift, and then we will go to object, blend, and we will go to the blend options. Here we will select the specified steps for this spacing option, and we will just put a value of, let's say, 8, and here we have options align to page or align to path. We can select align to path and then we'll click OK. Now we can just go to object menu again, and here we can use make. So now we can see we got duplicates, but now we want these duplicates on this path. For that we will again hold shift and select the path, and then we will go to object menu again and we will go to the blend option, and then here in the blend options we have this replace spine. We'll just select replace spine. So now we can see all these objects are now over the path. And we can also do one more thing. We can just select the add anchor point tool and we can just move the position of these stars. If we think they are not positioned properly, the positioning is meshy, we can just add some points on the path and just slightly position the stars in a better way. Right. We will also try to put these stars on an elliptical path. We will select an ellipse tool and make sure that only stroke is active, fill is off. Simply hold shift and create a perfect ellipse, and then we will select this star. We can select any object if we want, and then we will position the star on this elliptical path. You can just position it properly. Right. Now we will just take a duplicate of the star. Again we will hold Alt and PC or Option in Mac, and then just place the duplicate exactly parallel to the first one, and then we will hold Shift and select both the stars. We will go to Object menu again. We will just select the blend and blend options, and for the specified steps this time we will put a value of 20, and then we will go to Object menu again. We'll go to blend and then we'll select make. So we got the duplicates. Now we will place these duplicated objects on this elliptical path. We'll simply hold shift and select the elliptical path, and then we can go to Object menu again. We'll go to blend, and then here we have the option replace spine. Right. Now we got the stars over this elliptical path, but here we have a space, an empty space. We will fix this empty space. We will just select the add anchor point tool, and then we will just put a point or create an extra point on this path. So now we can see, now all the stars are properly positioned on the elliptical path. So let's select the pen tool and create a path something like this, and we will adjust the path. Right. Then we will apply a gradient to this path. So here we can find the gradient. We are applying a default gradient, some gradient here. We can just check the gradient here. So we have one dark color, dark blue color. We have a light blue color, and we have another gradient slider for which we have given 0% opacity. So this will create a nice fade out look to the path. Right. Now we will just take a duplicate of this path. We want a flipped copy of this path. So for that we can simply right click on the path, and here we have the transform option, and we will select reflect, and we will just click on copy inside the reflect dialog, and we will also select the vertical option. Right. So now we got something like this, and what we'll be doing is we will change the gradient for this path. So let's say we will give some orange color and also some light orange, or we can also give it some yellow color. And for the third slider we will keep the opacity to 0%, and we can also change its color to yellow and change the opacity to 0%. So again we got some nice fade out path. The color inside the path fades out. Right. Now what we'll be doing is we will select both these paths, and we will go to object, and we will go to blend, and again we will go to the blend options, and we will select the specified steps from this drop down list, spacing drop down list, and this time we will put a value of, let us say, 70, and then we will click OK, and again we will go to object menu, and again we will go to the blend options and we will select make. So we can see we got a nice organic wave. Let us try to increase the specified steps. We will just go to the blend options and this time let's put a value of let us say 200, and again we will just go to blend and then we will click on this make. So now we can see, so we got some nice organic waves. Let's create another type of organic waves. So here we will just use the pen tool again and we will create a path like this. So we can just adjust the path, right? So now we will select the path and then we will change the path's width profile. Here currently the width profile for the stroke or this path is uniform. We will change it to, let's say, width profile 1, and we will increase the stroke size. So now we can see the path is thick at the center and thin at the corners, right? And then we can also give some gradient to this path. First we will select the gradient panel and we will apply some default gradient, and what we'll be doing is we will just change the colors here. We will just try to give some dark and light colors, and then we will also just try to create two sliders to right and left, and we will select the left slider and then we will change its opacity to 0%, and also we will do the same thing for the right slider, opacity to 0%. We got something like this. Now the stroke or the path looks like this, and then we will select the path again. This time we will take a duplicate by holding Alt or Option and dragging. So here we got a duplicate, and we will reduce the size of the duplicate compared to the first path, right? Now we will hold Shift and select both these paths, and we will go to Object, Blend, and first we will just open the blend options dialog. So here the specified steps is only 30. Let's put it to, let's say, 80, and we will go to Object again and we will go to the blend again and we will select make. So we can see here now our organic wave looks different. And let us try to reduce the number of specified steps inside the blend options dialog. Let's keep it to 40, and now let's again click on the make. So we can see here, and we can also experiment by just changing the colors here. So let's try to change the colors for the bottom wave, one dark and one light, or different color, right? And we can also try to increase the size of our artboard. We can simply hit Shift O and we will just increase the size of our artboard, and then we will take a duplicate of the bottom wave and keep it like this, and we will select all three waves. We'll go to Object, Blend, and let us click on Make. So we can see we got some different looking organic wave. We can experiment with colors and sizes, and let us try to just keep this big wave little bit away from the small one. And now let's try to select both these waves and let us try to just click on this make. So now we can see So these are the different types of organic waves we can make using the blend option. And the one experiment that we can do is we can keep changing the colors. We can try to different colors, but the most important point is this should be selected, and we can just change different colors here. We can see different gradients, different colors, and we'll get different results. Now the most interesting example with the blend option is to create a fur. So now let's select a star, and now let's increase the number of points on this star. So here we have the icon with which we can just increase the number of points, and also let's just click on this circle and let's change its shape a little bit. So it looks like a sun shape, but we want it to look like a coronavirus, so something like this. Right, now let's apply a gradient to this star. So here we will just apply a gradient. So we need to again select one dark and one light gradient. So let's select a light gradient, right? And we will also change the gradient type to radial, and also we need to ensure that the dark color is at the center and the light color is at the corners. Right, now we will take one more copy of this shape. So we will simply use the shortcut Ctrl C, Ctrl F, or Command C, Command F, and we will hold Alt and Shift or Option and Shift, and then scale down the second shape. So this is how we can scale down, and we can just adjust the shape a little bit, and we will change the color of this inner shape. So we will just select a different color here, so something like this. We can also just select orange color. Okay, this looks fine. Right, so now we have two shapes, and we can slightly just adjust the shape. Right, and now when we have two shapes, we will hold Shift and select both these shapes. We will go to Object, and here again we will go to Blend and Blend Options. This time let's increase the value of specified steps to 150, and again we will go to Object, Blend, and we will select or click Make. So we need to get something like this. Right, now we will again select the entire object, and this time we will go to the Effect menu. Here we have Distort and Transform, and first we will select this Pucker and Bloat. So this is Pucker and Bloat, and we will just put a value of -23%. So this is the value we are supposed to put inside this Pucker and Bloat input field. So again the shape looks like this, and then the last option is we need to go to Effect menu again, Distort and Transform, and this time we will be selecting this Roughen. Just we will click on this Roughen, and here we need to first change some of the options. Here we will select Absolute, and then for points we will select Smooth, and we will reduce the detail, and we will increase the size. So we can see now we got a fur. So we can just increase the size to maximum, and then we'll click OK. So we can see we got a nice fur ball, And to make it more interesting, we will just right click over this furball, and here we have the option isolate selected group. So what this will do is we'll be entering inside this furball options, or we can say these individual objects with which we have created this furball. We can control them in a better way. So here we will select this inner object and we will just move it, and now we can see the shape has changed, right? So we can see how we have changed the shape. We can scale and change the shape even further, right? So now we can make it more interesting. We can create a nice furry cartoon here. So what we'll be doing is we will just select an ellipse. We can just give it a grayscale gradient or a black and white gradient, and we can also change the gradient type to radial here, and we will also click on this reverse gradient, and then we can just make the center ellipse a little bit sharp. So we are actually creating the eyes, right? And then we can just stretch it a little bit, and we can just keep it over here. We can just take a duplicate of this, right? Then the next thing we'll be doing is we will just select an ellipse here. We can just create an oval shape, and then we can just change its color, right? And then we will just cut this ellipse. We will use the pathfinder. So let's see, where is the pathfinder? Here is the pathfinder, and we will cut the shape. So this is the mouth actually. So we can just give some color to the mouth, and we can just keep it over here, right? Now we will just create the teeth using the rounded rectangle tool, and we can also just give a cut for this rounded rectangle with another rectangle, and we will use a pathfinder to create a cut, right? So we got the teeth. We will just scale down the teeth, right? Now to make it more funny or interesting, we can also create a tongue for this. So we will again give a color red, and we will minus the rectangle here to create a shape of the tongue, right? So this is the tongue, and we can create any kind of tongue. We have the liberty, right? And we can just keep it over here, and this time we will right click, arrange, and we can select this send backward, and again we will right click, arrange, and send backward. So we have created a tongue, right? And one last thing is we can also create a nose. We can just select this ellipse. We can just change the shape a little bit. We will just select the topmost point, right? And then we can just pull the bottom points, and we can also just change the shape so that it looks like a nose, a funny nose, a cartoon nose, right. So we can just keep it over here, and we can just adjust the nose properly if we want. Right. So here we have created a funny looking furry cartoon using the blend, and we can do one more thing here. So we can just increase the size of the artboard, and we can just create one more duplicate of this furry cartoon, and we can change its color. Again, we can just right click on this furry cartoon, and we can click on this isolate selected group, and we can give a different colors here. We can, let's say, we can give some red color here, so we can see red and green or something like that. And we can also select the top shape, and again we can change the color. Let's change it to a light color and a dark color, so we can see. We can see the change. We can also give one more color here, so we can see different colors. And let's change this color to, let's say, a magenta. Right. So we have given a different color, and here we can just click on this back one level, and again we'll click, and now we can see we got these furry cartoons in two different colors.